So we're doing a Zoom, and Spencer will be joining us by Zoom.
All right, good evening. Welcome to our Draper City Planning Commission meeting. We appreciate you joining us tonight for Thursday, May 8th as the date. Thanks to the staff for getting everything done and posted throughout the week, and especially staying late on the nights of our meetings here. And then thanks to all the commissioners up here for volunteering their time, and we do appreciate the guests, both the applicants and anybody else visiting and joining us tonight. So let's go ahead and get things started. There's no change to the agenda as posted. So there's a copy in the back, and anybody listening in, they'll have the same agenda in front of them as well. No changes to that tonight proposed. So let's go ahead and get things kicked off. Our first item of business is a public hearing. It's the Victoria 2 lot subdivision plat amendment request. It's on the request of Solid Construction Group, representing property owners Bill and Shannon Model. Subdivision plat amendment request for 1.16 acres located at 12542 South, 900 East. This is known as application 2024-0197-SUB. Our staff contact on this is Marianne Pickering. So go ahead, Marianne. We'll let you start with your presentation.
Thank you. It's being weird. There we go. This subject property is highlighted here in the blue. This is the Draper Historic Park for reference. It is located on the immediate corner of 900 South and 125 South. The land use on this one is residential medium density, and the current zoning on it is RA2, and that is our half acre or 20,000 square foot minimum lot size zone. This is a proposed plat amendment with the 2-lot subdivision. It's a plat amendment because it's part of an older subdivision for that area. Both of the proposed lots do meet the minimum standards for the RA2 zone. And then on the newly created lot, there is an intention to build on it, and any new development home on that property will need to meet all of the current standards of the RA2 zone when it develops. There are some existing structures on the property that will need to be removed prior to the plat being recorded. And this is the proposed plat, so the entire property is this, and the existing historic home is located approximately here. So there will be access off 125, and it will come back, and then it's anticipated the future development will be back here. There was one public comment we received that was emailed to you this morning about the site, and I didn't have any other inquiries on the public hearing notice we sent out. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
All right, we don't see any questions. Thanks, Marianne.
Thank you.
Is the applicant here? All right, if you'd love to come down, just state your name and then add anything to Marianne's presentation that you'd like, and we'll see if the commissioners have any questions for you.
I'm Morgan Lovato with the Solid Construction Group, representing the modals. We just, like I said, straightforward. We would like the lot to be split into two, subdivided into a plat amendment for future development. Future development has not been yet decided or moved forward or planned until after this passed through. So, and any questions, we're welcome to answer.
Perfect.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
We received some feedback from the neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
And she does have animals in the lot back near where this home would be developed. And so I'm wondering if you know about the animals and the smell that animals cause, and a buyer's going to have to be aware, right, that that's pre-existing and that they're there in order to, live there. But
Yeah.
are they going to complain to her about her animals? I think she's really concerned about it.
No, I think concerning the usage of her lot as well as our lot would remain separate, or whatever she wishes to perform on her lot. We would be welcome and advise the buyer that that's the case as well, and then certainly hope for the same on our lot. We would hope that the wishes are the same.
Yeah. Just wanted to bring that to attention. Animals smell.
Yes.
'Cause that's what that white building is there with the
Yeah, it's on
three
the
little vents
property
on it.
line on that rear
Yeah.
side. Yeah.
Got it. All right. Great. Any other questions for staff or for the
I have a
applicant?
question. If you can go to the new plat map. Oh, yeah. Okay, on Lot 4, the west boundary is the only one that doesn't have a PUE. Is there a reason for that?
Our code actually only requires them on one side lot, front, back, and one side. So
Okay.
that's why.
That's why. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, thanks, Morgan.
Thank you.
We'll call you back up if we need to. So this is a public hearing, so now we can open this up for public comment. Now's going to be a time when people can come up and give their 3 minutes to shine. You get 3 minutes of fame up here. So we've got a nice little red timer over there for you. We just ask that you stay under the 3 minutes. You don't have to fill the full time. And the only other rule is if you please state your name into the microphone when you want to come up. So we'll go ahead and open that up right now, and whoever wants to speak to this one, come on down.
Hi, I'm Susan Isbell. I own the Lot 2. And I do have animals back there. The picture you're showing is actually fairly old. I've done considerable improvement on that. I purchased it about 3 years ago. But the animals are still placed right on the back corner there on that west boundary. I am concerned about multiple issues with this development. It is a very small lot, and it's going to be a very large house. So it's basically going to be house and whatever the minimum setbacks are, which is not really in line with what's there anywhere else in the neighborhood. And I did notice that in the town planning, particularly around the track station, the process that was just undergone, this area was highlighted as an area to try to preserve the general sense of this area. It's been around a long time. I know my building is new, but it does have the same space use there, and it's not really new. It's 20 some odd years old, but new compared to the house on the Lot 5, what would be the Lot 5. And I have considerable concern since there's going to be on a very narrow area, narrow access, a lot of construction equipment running up and down my boundary, which as you can see is the longest single affected boundary. So
I'm sorry to interrupt. We haven't opened a public hearing, haven't we? Have we? And if we have, we haven't explained the rules or set the timer or anything. Did that open? Yeah, timer's not running them.
Oh, well,
Thanks for pointing out the timer. Yeah, but we did explain this. So this is public hearing. And the way this works, it's not question and answer dialogue like it was with the applicant. So it's just you say your 3 minutes, and then we'll just go from there. And we do take notes of questions that you're asking so we can ask the applicant. Sorry.
Right.
It's kind of the way these meetings run.
Yeah, like I'd say, I think it is a very small lot for a very large building with a setback and basically a driveway close to it, frontage. And all of that, both during the building and in the ultimate building, is going to impact my property the most of all of the properties, given the length of the boundary. And I am concerned about that really bare minimum size of that lot, giving no room. So, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else want to address this agenda item? You can come on down. We'll get this timer working. Right, Jennifer?
Yeah, sorry, guys.
Wait, no problem. That was about 3 minutes, wasn't it? Well done. Well done. Yeah. No,
Want me to do the timer?
We got it.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead and state your name.
My name is is Davey Walbeck. I live on the east side of that lot, which, yeah, I have concerns with it. It's, as it was mentioned, it's a very big house being put on a very small property, which removes all privacy from my backyard, since that'll be their front yard or whatever their yard, but it just removes any privacy at all. It also interferes with my view that I have right now, which is all the way to the mountains. And from the plans that they were putting there, I know all of the land there is basically just clay, which doesn't absorb a lot of water. The plan to put a little ditch right on the property line is not going to do the runoff for a whole house. I guarantee you that, because I've had to deal with it. So that's a concern too, because it wouldn't be just one building, it would be two buildings, because my garage is right there. So it's a devaluation of my property and logistics of what it causes after the fact.
All right, thank you. All right, anyone else? Okay, I don't see anyone, so we'll go ahead and close the public hearing at this time. If we want to invite Morgan, you want to come back down, we'll invite the applicant back down. We've got a couple quick questions here. So the couple things that I noted there, that we've got setbacks, right? That the setbacks would be, they're all going to be honored, right? To code.
Right.
And then runoff, maybe you can answer a couple questions or give a couple answers on that as far as what you're going to do just to address the concerns of your neighbors.
Right, yeah. So I think for the soil conditions, it's standard process to obtain a geotech report of the existing conditions to address them and engineer properly to address those issues. So I think that through the geotech engineering regarding the conditions and suitability for development, that through the professional report that we could therefore mitigate any of the potential issues with the appropriate engineering provided through a civil engineer.
So while you're up here, can you just explain that process for the neighbors as far as how that would work? So they're going to do a geotech soils report, but that kind of sounds like self-policing. So what does the city do to help? We all know that you're responsible for, every homeowner is responsible for the water on their land, and it's not, allowed just to be able to run your water off to the next guy, and it's now their problem. Can you kind of run the public through that, Brian?
Yes. So speaking first to the geotech, the geotech is part of the subdivision process. And the investigation's already been done, and it outlines the soil conditions and the bearing strength of the soil and such things. So that outlines some of the building requirements. Towards drainage, the city has a set of drainage requirements and a design storm that the civil engineer has to design to. And we've reviewed the design and the plans for that drainage system, and it does meet city standards.
Okay. So that's already been done then, the
Correct.
geotech.
Both
and
the
they're
geotech
past
and
that.
the site subdivision plans.
Or else
have
it would
been
not come
completed.
to us for a vote to approve
Correct.
or disallow. Got it. Okay. Any other questions you guys have for the applicant before we discuss?
What you're asking for today doesn't have a house plan.
Correct.
So some of the comments were about a house that they've seen. Have you shown the neighbors a plan?
No.
No.
There's no public plan or even an engineered or architect plan. There's maybe preliminary renderings that we've had that maybe someone has had access to, but there has been no architectural or engineering plans written for this particular parcel.
So it sounds like the neighbors are concerned about privacy. Would you consider a rambler instead of a two-level home? Is that something you guys could think about or consider?
Yeah, I think we're, like we said, we have no intent on building type. As far as one-story or two-story, I think that we will obviously follow the city code and council as far as that, but we're certainly not looking to create enemies out of neighbors.
Good. I think it's smart to consider the neighborhood.
Yes.
All right. Okay, we'll excuse you. Thanks for coming back up. We'll
Thank you.
discuss it. Thank you. All right, commissioners, what are your thoughts?
I just had a comment, just in reviewing the staff report and the requirements of the zone, this proposal does meet all of those requirements. We can't control, well, one thing it doesn't address is the size of the home, but I know there's a maximum footprint you can have on a lot based on the zoning. And it will have to meet that or they wouldn't issue a building permit for that. So as far as our review, in my opinion, it meets all of the requirements for a subdivision approval.
And so because it does meet all the requirements, we can't deny it, right? We don't have grounds for denial.
True, exactly, yes.
Got it. Okay, well, with that, does anyone want to make a motion on this?
I'll make a motion.
Yeah, go ahead. Thanks, Lisa.
Unless commissioners want to talk anymore. Any other thoughts?
No.
Okay. I move that we approve the subdivision plat amendment as requested by Solid Construction for the Victoria 2 subdivision plat amendment application 2024-0197-SUB based on the following findings for approval and subject to the requirements as listed in the staff report dated April 29, 2025, that it meets the requirements, the Draper City Code requirements, and so we are approving.
Great. Thanks, Lisa. That's a motion to approve. Who will second that?
I'll second.
Thanks, Mary. Okay, let's put this to a vote then. This is for approval as proposed. Lisa, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Susan?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
And Kendra?
Yes.
All right. Congrats on that. Good luck with your project back there, and we appreciate you coming in, spending the time, and all the prep that you've made. So let's go ahead and now move on to our next public hearing. This is same type of agenda item as before, so we will have the public hearing, so get ready. This is the Essence Integrative Wellness and Aesthetics Home Occupation Conditional Use Permit. It's on the behalf of Shanda Maxfield, representing Essence Integrative Wellness and Aesthetics and Conditional Use Permit for a personal care service home occupation on approximately 0.11 acres. This is located at 11886 South Poultry Drive, and it's known as application 2025-0001-USE. So Paul Geilman's our staff contact, and welcome, Paul. You're new to us here, not new to the biz, but new to us, so thank you for joining us. We appreciate you having you, and we'll let you take it away. No pressure.
So this is a home-based practice specializing in medical-grade skincare treatments and injections, including chemical peels, Botox, filler injections, as well as telehealth appointments for weight loss injections. We can see the vicinity map here. We're over just west of the freeway off of Poultry Drive. There's the aerial map of the property. You see we have a rear-loaded garage onto an alley, and then the front is off of Poultry Drive. Land use map, the land use is residential medium high density. We are in the R3 zone here. Here's the site plan that was provided by the applicant, designating the on-site parking pad in the back just north of the detached garage. The access to that is off of the alley in the back, and the pad itself is about 19 by 13 feet. The floor plans showing the access of where to get in. So the customers would be coming in the back door, going down the stairs to the office in the basement. That's about 200 square feet, where everything for the business is in that area. Potential impacts, the increased traffic, potential odors and noise, increased parking on the street. The way that that's mitigated is scheduled appointments with staggered arrival to limit traffic. All potential odors and noise are contained within the office at the residence. And then there's no street parking. All the designated customer parking is on that pad in the back. And there's our site photos.
Can you go back to the site photo, please, Paul? So we can just look at it a little longer.
This is down in Independence, right, where they're the back alley load
Yes, the rear load.
garages? Yeah. So this chain link fence, that's their property as well, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Any questions for staff? All right, well done, Paul. We'll keep you. You got it. Good job. All right, let's go ahead and get the applicant up here. Is the applicant here? All right, no pressure for you either, so come on down. If you just state your name and then just add anything you'd like, and then we may have some questions for you.
Okay. Shanda Maxfield. I'm a nurse practitioner. I've been in this home for 28 years. My intention is to keep it residential, just nice and quiet, in and out, maybe 3 to 5 patients a day. I'm only 2 days a week, as you saw in my proposal, or maybe not. But yeah, mostly friends and family. So what else do you guys have?
I just have a question. Will you be opening this gate so that they can access?
Yeah,
Then
yep. It's a powered gate, and it will just stay open when they are coming, and I'll close it when they're gone.
right.
Yes, and there's a vehicle parked there now. That's why I was asking about that. So that vehicle will be gone, and then
Yes,
they'll
he
just be able
goes
to
to
use
work.
that as the parking. Perfect. Got
Yeah.
it. You've got a master plan here. Okay. Okay.
Good.
All right. Any other questions? Pretty straightforward. You got it. Thank you.
Thank
Well, I do have a question. There was odor and noise. What do you think is going to happen with your business that will cause odor?
If anything, it's just the chemical pill smell itself.
Huh.
But other than that, it wouldn't be
I mean,
anything.
do you even anticipate that getting out of the
No.
property?
And I did have a
That'd
health
be one chemical pill.
Yeah, I did have a health inspection because I didn't know the process of everything.
Yeah.
And then once we got done, he was going to approve me. And then he's like, wait, you're an APRN. You don't need a health inspection.
Got
I don't know why. I would feel like everyone should.
Got it. So
But-
you were going through that process first and then realized
He
that it was
went
a
through
little excessive.
everything
Okay.
and okayed everything. So
Yeah, no, I was just surprised about that odor and noise. I mean, we have to take everything in consideration when we're putting a business, right, or a
Yeah.
small business into a neighborhood. But yeah, that's why we try to mitigate all the nuisance factors and everything in advance. Okay, if there's no other questions, great. We'll let you go ahead and sit down. It's a public hearing again. Let's see what people have to say. All right, this is a public hearing. We'll open this one up to public comment. Who would like to address this agenda item, if anyone? No, we don't see anybody. All right, well, then we'll go ahead and close it without any input. All right, commissioners, what are your thoughts?
I have no objections as long as Chandra's careful about having the parking, one client at a time, lapse of time between, and then having the parking off the street, following those rules.
Yeah, and Independence, I mean, that's 28 years there. That's the original, right? So that's it's like a founding member there, so that in that neighborhood. And so that gets you, it does get a little tight in there, especially with these alley load, but I do like the setup here with that fence and that gate. So it seems like that's going to mitigate the parking as long as that's where they go.
Well, I'll make a motion then.
Go ahead. Thanks,
I
Lisa.
move that we approve the conditional use permit as requested by Shanda Maxfield, representing Essence Integrative Wellness and Aesthetics, PLLC, for a personal care service home occupation application 2025-0001-USE, based on the findings and criteria for approval and subject to the conditions listed in the staff report dated April 24, 2025. Her application meets the approval found in our Draper code, and I think that the reasonable conditions have been imposed that will mitigate any problems.
Great. Thanks for that motion, Lisa. That's for approval. Who will second that motion?
I'll second that.
Thanks, Kendra. Okay, let's put that one for a vote to approve. Let's start with you, Lisa. How do you vote?
Yes.
Kendra?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
And Susan?
Yes.
All right. Congrats on that. And we appreciate you going through the whole process, right? And not everybody does that, but we appreciate that. So thanks for doing it the right way. All right, let's go ahead and now move on to our final agenda item and final public hearing of the evening. This is for the Jackson Office Building Site Plan request. It's on the request of Riley Young of Mint Architecture, representing Mark Jackson, a request for a site plan approval for a new office building on approximately 2.38 acres. This is located at approximately 11757 South, 700 East, and it's known as application 2024-0306-SP. And Marianne Pickering is our contact on this one. So go ahead, Marianne.
Thank you. That's weird. It is weird. Oh, Jen's mouse worked. There we go. That was weird. So this is, the property is highlighted in the blue color. This is off 700 East, and this would be the Kimball's track station line here for reference. This is a close-up view of the property. I would like to note that it is two separate properties on our layers. We have not gotten updated information from the county yet, but the applicant did combine these two lots. I do have that deed, so this is one big lot at this time. We're just waiting for the updated maps. The land use on this one is neighborhood commercial, and the zoning is also neighborhood commercial. What's proposed on the site is a two-story office building on the vacant site. The applicant has incorporated the 10% natural deviation for the parking. It still does meet parking, but it does have that reduction. There has been a need for some additional trees within the landscape buffer. We've included that as a condition of approval, and we need a few minor changes to the lighting plan, and that's also a condition of approval for you. They have provided fencing. There's going to use the existing fence on the south property line, and a new fence will be built on the east and north property lines where they need that. For those of you who have been on the commission, just as a refresher, there was an office approved here in the past. I think Jen was the planner on that one. They just got their site plan approval, and they just never built it, and then they sold it, and then we had a request for a rezone for a self-storage facility a few years ago, and that one was withdrawn. So we have seen this site before, if it does look familiar to you. This is the proposed layout of the site. The access will be here off 700 East. They have obtained approval from UDOT because they do control the road. And then this is the footprint of the building that is proposed. There will be some parking here along the side and then along the rear. This pink area is where they're proposing to do their retention for the water on site. This is the landscape plan that shows a lot of landscaping. One item we do need changed is additional trees here in this buffer area. This is what we consider to be the buffer, and it's 1 per 400 square feet, so there are a few more trees required. That's the condition I referred to. And then these street trees, the code does not allow you to put street trees in park strips that are less than 5 feet now, and this one's about 4.5 feet. So we're going to have them put the trees over here where this sod is. Anything within 15 feet of the property line counts as a street tree. The elevations of the building, this is the front side of the building, and then this is the north side and the side that faces the south. This is the side that faces the residential neighborhood to the south to Sunset Ponds. The lighting plan, one thing we noticed is there's 2 extra light poles. So that's one of the conditions that we need the applicant is just to reduce that, and that will reduce then the overall lighting on the site. The applicant has indicated they don't plan to use this after hours, so they do have an after hours lighting plan dimming the lights down to the code requirements. These are the 2 conditions I referred to with the lighting and the irrigation that are within your staff report. And then this is the site. It's been vacant for some time. There was a kennel at a personal residence there before. And so this is, the entrance is going to be down here. So these trees will need to be removed because of the entrance to the site. But again, UDOT has approved it. As a result of the public notice, I did receive several inquiries about the property, but I did not receive anything in writing either for or against this project. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
So the last time this came to us, it was a storage unit.
They needed
proposed.
to rezone to get the storage units in there, and they withdrew it before it went to city council because of the opposition.
And I think because that's why that does seem familiar, right? Because we had the Sunset Pond neighbors in here saying, "Hey, you know, this is going to," and I point that out because this is a better product for the reasons that that storage unit was opposed, right? Because I mean, you've got after hours, trucks with their backup beep beep, noise and all that kind of stuff in all hours of the night. And these buildings next to residential areas, a nice example of this to go look at is right on 3rd and Pioneer. It's across, so kitty corner to the back lot where Penny Ann's Cafe would be, so just kitty corner to that. That office building backs or fronts or whatever you want to say, a row of houses, an L-shaped row of, residential homes that have been there for 20 years.
There's a dentist office in there.
Is that what that is? Yeah, a dentist office and a financial place. And
Yeah.
I really do. I drive by that every day, and I'm impressed with how well they mitigate the light
Yes.
air quotes, pollution, the light pollution that's not coming off that property at night because nobody's there. So it's kind of a good example of what this, what the city does and what this could be. So anyway, but that's my input on there. All right.
I have a question for Marianne. What is the property to the north of this lot? I can't remember. Looks like there's a home there, but is it vacant or is it in use?
There's a home there, and the gentleman went through a rezone with you about a year and a half ago to change it from residential to the neighborhood commercial zone. He uses the home he's told me he literally goes there and plays ball with his kids in the yard. And so if you see cars there, that's what it is. He actually lives in Sandy, but he does intend to develop an office building at some point in the future. But he would have to go through the site plan process.
Of course, right. But it's not really in use. I was just
Nobody's
curious.
living in there.
Nobody's
It's
living
just-
in it.
He's there occasionally during the day.
Okay, thank you.
So I've sat up here a long time. Was there not a rehab center at some point proposed in one of these adjacent lots?
I don't think so.
It was further.
Or was it
Further
something?
south.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Because it was either on either side. It straddled Sunset Ponds was again right in the middle of it. So that's why I'm getting this confused with that one. So okay. All right. No other questions for staff? Great.
I have one.
Oh, you do? Go ahead, Susan.
So the fencing requirements, it says that they are proposing to have a fence on the rear and south boundary lines. But I think, Marianne, did you say there was going to be another one on another side, or is that all that's required?
All that's required is the south and east, and they do show a partial one on the north.
Okay, so the north are not because of the rezone recently.
Because it's the same zone.
Same
it's
zone,
commercial
yeah.
to commercial.
Right.
But when it's adjacent to residential, they need to have
They
that
would have,
fence.
right. So
Is
otherwise-
that precast wall, is that in between the residential neighborhood now and that picture you showed of the precast wall? By the way, it looks like it's fallen down, but it might just be the angle.
That one,
No,
that
it
is
looks
the
like it's a
existing
precast,
one.
yeah. What's that, Marianne?
That is the existing one. So the house that is behind there, that is part of the Sunset Ponds development. So
Okay,
that's
and
the
that
one on
runs
south.
the length of that whole property line now?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
And is it fallen down, or is it okay?
I swear I was just out there and saw that it was.
All right, we'll bring you up. Yeah, we'll bring you up. Okay, good. I'll ask the applicant for that. Okay. Should we get him up here? All right. Thank you, Marianne. Is the applicant here? If so, come on down. And if you just state your name.
Yeah, Riley Young with Min Architecture.
Hi.
Yeah, so happy to comply to all those things that Marianne touched on as far as the landscaping and lighting. So, yeah, I'll answer any additional questions that you guys may have.
So I don't know if you can answer the question about the fencing, but does that precast wall run all the way down that south side?
My understanding is that it does, and if it doesn't, we will be adding new fencing.
Because it'll be required.
Absolutely,
So, and is it falling down? And I don't know if that would even be your burden, because that's what I'm looking at right now. And this is usually a time to say, hey, if we've got a wall or a fence that's falling down, but we're counting on it to be a fence, that would need to, in my opinion, be mitigated. Is that something, obviously, that the city, what's the city's take on something like that?
We would just want to make sure it's structurally sound. So as part of they're obviously going to be digging near there to do part of the work. So if it has to be repaired or replaced, they would be responsible for doing that.
Okay.
Which the owner understands, yeah.
Okay. Cool. Any questions for the applicant then? All right, it's a public hearing, so you've seen the drill 2 times now before. We'll invite you back up if we need to, okay? Thanks, Riley. Okay, this is a public hearing, so we'll go ahead and open this up to public comment. Who would like to address this agenda item? We'll give you your 3 minutes to shine. And remember to state your name.
Thank you. Annette Gamero. I'm on Sunset Ponds. My property is the very furthest east.
Okay.
First of all, that fence, that cement, it does not run all the way. Mine is vinyl. My neighbor's is vinyl. So at some point, it flips to vinyl. The other thing I want the owner to know is that I don't know if they've walked all the way back to the back of the property, but the property does drop significantly. You're walking along, and then about 3/4 of the way down, you drop in elevation. So there's a lot of things that are going to be difficult for them to mitigate with that. With the water, there's a lot of standing water during the rainy season. The other thing is all of those trees along the south border are garbage trees. They leave garbage everywhere. Rodents and animals love them. So I would be very opposed if they considered those part of their allotment of trees. They all have to be cleaned out. There's weeds back there and reeds. And then if they put in these new trees, what happens if these trees start dropping things into our property again? Which that was one of the previous owner was the worst at that. And then I know you were saying, it could be a rehab center, it could be a storage unit. We fought those as well. So just because this is a nicer thing doesn't mean that we're just going to be blindly accepting it because it could be a rehab center if we're not, we want it to be right. We want it to have cleaned up the mess that's back there that we've been dealing with because the owner before kind of abdicated any responsibility. And then if you're dealing with the lights, of course you guys have the regulations on the lights, which I assume that will be followed. But I had damage to my fence because of the trees from the previous owner, and that's one of my major concerns. Thank you.
Great, thanks. All right, who else?
Hello, my name is Kevin Lucroat, and I live kind of in the middle of the pond retention area. We just moved to this area last summer. Obviously, we knew eventually something would get developed there. Love the community. My concerns are on the groundwater control. I mean, everything does go back there. And are we gonna see water back into our properties because it can't flow out because of all the asphalt driveway? I also have a dead tree overhanging my property. I reached out to the realtor and got no response back about helping get that removed. So that would not count as one of your trees, obviously. And the fence that we have, there's only a couple of houses that have that preform cast, and then it goes vinyl. And the footing for that actually is sloping back into the wetland. So the fence is not vertical. It's, whether it's stable or not, I mean, the footing is taller than it appears on our side, but it is going back that way. So it's pretty much drainage, trees, and the fence. And I haven't heard, what is the projection for the start of this project? How far out in advance? So that's pretty much it.
Great, thanks for your comments. All right, who else? You guys are very polite to each other and to us. Thanks.
My name is Terry Clark. I live in the 5th house down, so it's just east of Midway.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have concerns about the swampiness of that area. I was happy to see that they had designed a detention basin, but we need some reassurance that the person who designed that took in the whole swamp into consideration, and that it was designed by somebody who really understands how swamps work, how water works, even beyond where they are. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else?
My name's Seth Burgess. I have the same concerns as everybody else, and an additional one as well. From where the entrance is to the office building, there's a parking issue with Sunset Ponds as it is, where we have that space on 7th East. I'm afraid that it's going to take some of that parking away. If there's going to be like a turn lane or into that office building. So that's one concern. Same thing with everybody else. The trees, there's two, I'll use the term that Annette used, the garbage trees, the cottonwood trees. Beautiful when they provide shade, but it all comes into my yard, and they're all like leaning onto my fence. So you have the issue of the fence leaning into that property, plus the trees coming the other way. And so, and then the drainage. When was it, 2 years ago, when we had that, I'll say a terrific winter, there was 5 feet of standing water back there until June. And I can't tell if it was that, but my basement flooded because I can only assume that that's where it came from, because there wasn't that much snow in my yard to where it seep under. And so the drainage, like the water, is a big issue, and then the lighting. If there is a I guess, code that they dim the lights at night, that would be, I guess, sufficient. But thank you.
Thank you. All right, anyone else? Okay, I don't see anyone else, so we'll go ahead and close the, unless you want to send the proxy up. You know what, go ahead. Just come on up and ask one more question. Go ahead and come up to the mic. I'll allow it. Go ahead. Come on up. State your name and then just your one last question.
Annette Gamero, thank you. How close would those trees be, these new trees, these beautiful new trees that they're obviously going to put in? How close would they be to the fence?
Great. We'll get you answers to all those. Thank you. All right, so now, I guess now it's officially closed with that little hanger at the end there. Yes. All right, so let's leave the map here for a minute. The zoning right now allows this use, correct? Because we're not doing a rezone.
Correct, it is
Okay, so
allowed.
that answers that question. So rehab, all that other stuff would have required a zone change. This does not. So we can put that one to rest. So that is allowed. Second, the water drainage. If you go to the plan, the actual site plan, what's the big pink L shape right there at the back of the property? What is that?
So that is a retention basin. They are collecting all the runoff on site, and they are addressing the poor soil nature of the swampy area by adding some structural material on top of it.
And nothing's going to be built there. It's just going to be empty space to retain.
That'll be a basin, so
A
it'll
basin,
have
yep.
embankments, and the
Yeah,
water will
which
be
is the
down
low
inside
spot
of it.
that was referenced, right?
Does the retention pond have a drain in it, or is it just a water collection?
It just collects water in this case.
How deep is it?
The water, it's only maybe a foot and a half deep at the deepest that it'll hold water. That's a considerable sized area, so it'll spread it out over a large area, just not very deep. I don't remember exactly the total depth of it.
Does it seem like the proposal and with that retention pond that it's an improvement to the property, so there are concerns about the water would be addressed by this?
It is. So what I was going to say is similar to a subdivision, they did have to do a geotechnical investigation on this as well. And part of the geotechnical investigation is addressing groundwater and those sorts of items. And the lot previously was like a bowl. It did collect water from everywhere. And they are landscaping this retention basin, so it'll still have that bowl effect, but it won't have the swampiness and the mud and those sorts of things, because this is a landscaped area now that they have for the retention, so it should handle the water better. And it was designed by a professional engineer that's stamped the plans. They do meet our requirements.
Okay. So we check that one off. I'm just kind of going through the questions that everybody asked here so we don't miss any. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask a follow-up to that?
You bet.
Brian, on the lots behind it, does it have swamp there too, or is it just this lot that was collecting all the water? Do you know?
I have been on this lot and the lot directly east of this. I have not been on any of the other lots. The lot to the east brought in a considerable amount of fill many, many, many years ago and has a pasture there now. And that alleviated a lot of the groundwater on that property, but they do still have some areas that hold water and are swampy.
Okay, thanks.
Perfect. That's it on that one? Okay, I'm just going down my list here. Now, let's talk about can you go to the landscape plan that you showed us? So, and if the applicant's here, let's have you come back up. Riley, we'll have you answer a couple of these questions now on the trees and the fencing. So which of these trees in the plan, if any, are going to be the original trees that are air quote garbage trees and holding up the leaning fence? Which one of those are you planning on keeping?
So all of the existing trees will be removed along this site here. And
Perfect.
New trees will be planted. They'll probably be planted 5 to 6 feet away from the new fence.
Good.
The fence, there's a note on the far right of the paper that states that we will replace the vinyl fence with a new concrete fence similar to what is on the front of the property. And then the owner's gracious enough that if that fence is not structurally sound, that it's to his benefit to make it such as well.
Well, it's a little self-serving, too. I mean, you guys are about ready to dump a couple $1 million into this thing, right? You're not going to have a falling down fence and some cottonwood trees mess up your awesome property. So, in my view, stuff like this, if it's allowed with the zoning, and that's what it was, probably the best, win-win that you can even imagine is to have somebody come in and invest a couple $1 million into taking swamp, garbage tree land and making it a great neighbor. Plus, I'm telling you, you're going to like the lighting at night. It's going to be the way our code. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised with that dental office. It's not even near my home, but you hit that. It feels still like the same rural intersection that it was years ago, except for all the traffic. But other than that, the light pollution is not an issue. It's across from a veterinarian's office, so I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. So back to the existing trees versus. So again, to clarify that. Your tree allowance is all going to be based off of new trees. None of the old trees are being used for that. And fencing, I had a question on that. Is vinyl, is the material required by the city and this site plan, or is it just air quotes fencing that needs to be there at a 6-foot height? Because we have a difference of the precast, whether it's falling down or standing up straight. If it were all reusable, would they have to match that all the way down, or could they just use the vinyl that's there?
No, the code requires precast when you have commercial to residential.
Perfect.
So
Good.
That's the south and east line. If they want to put vinyl on the north, that would be okay because it's a commercial
Perfect.
property.
But those to that L shape along the back here, along the water retention basin, all that's going to be precast.
Yes.
Okay. Good. And again,
I'm impressed by the design that Riley, that the building is toward the north, so that you've got lots of more trees and vegetation between the building and the neighborhood. A lot of space. It's quite a distance, actually, and I appreciate you've thought of that. I think that's a really good design.
yeah, it's a nice buffer because if you
Yes.
go back to the zoning map, you've got that residential where
Yep.
commercial.
Yeah.
Where it does hit that, they've really pushed this off. And it's not to be a jerk to the neighbor to the north, because that one is also
Neighborhood commercial.
commercial on that one. So well done. Great plan. All right. Parking. Oh, yeah, let's address the parking on the street. So my understanding is that there's parking from Sunset Ponds that's enjoying the parking all the way down 7th to mitigate their parking dilemmas. And this would, air quote, it would in a way interfere with that, but that's the egg that we need to crack to get the cake or the pancake or whatever you want to bake.
So my civil engineer's here as well, and she might be able to speak more to it, but my understanding is there is not a turn lane that will be required into the property, but we will need to improve UDOT's road in front of the new development.
Yeah, because I've driven by there, and I mean, you do see, what appear to be just residents' vehicles, right, that live there. Like if you got a plumber's truck or something like that, and you're just, that's there every day. So it's got to be somebody that lives in there. Okay, got it. So now, I think, Commissioners, are any other questions that I've missed, just so that the public's questions have been addressed?
Did we address how close the trees are to the property line on the south side? Sorry if you did.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
6
they'll
feet.
be 5 to 6 feet
Thank
off
you.
the.
And these are smaller caliper trees, and you don't put garbage trees in
They're
your
not
brand new
garbage trees, no.
development.
Does the city dictate what type of trees? Is there a
I
list?
believe that they do, yeah.
On street trees, we have a list.
Only on
But
street
once you
trees?
get onto the private property, it's their choice.
Okay.
Riley, you said something about requirement to develop the front of the property that's up about on 700. What does that mean? Will you be putting curb? Will it allow someone to park in front of that property?
I don't know if they'll be allowed to park on UDOT's road, I guess, but I know it'll be full curb and gutter sidewalk.
Yeah, if you go back to the plat so you can kind of see where the ingress, egress is. Yeah, it's right there. So, I mean, it was a valid point that, yes, that's going to cut into some of your public street parking, but that's not your property, so.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, I think that's everything we've got there. All right, commissioners, what are your thoughts? Thank you, Riley. We'll go ahead and let you be seated, and thank you so much. All right, commissioners, what are your thoughts? Pardon me? Oh, sure.
I think they have a year, right?
They have a year to
They
do
just
it.
have a year. It's when you get an approval, it's within 12 months, so we can't hold them to that. But and you guys can talk afterwards.
I
mean,
do
it's
know
still,
the owner's anxious, so I think it will be very soon.
Got it. But you guys, again, after this, you're welcome to talk. So we encourage that. All right. Well, we've got to put it to a vote. What are your thoughts here? This is for approval or not?
I think this one looks pretty good and seems much more appealing for its proximity to the Sunset Ponds area compared to other things we've seen. So I'm prepared to make a motion. if we
Yeah,
can
go
move
ahead,
forward.
Kendra. Let's hear it.
I move that we approve the site plan as requested by Riley Young of Mint Architecture representing Mark Jackson, application 2024-0306-SP, based on the findings for approval and subject to the conditions listed in the staff report dated April 29th, 2025. And this includes the findings for approval, the 5 items listed in the staff report.
All right. Thanks, Kendra. Who will second that motion?
I'll second.
Okay. Thanks for that second, Susan. Let's put this to a vote. Kendra, how do you vote?
Yes.
Susan?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
And Laura?
Yes.
All right. We don't have any other deviations. That was it, right? Perfect. All right. Well, congrats on that. Again, we encourage you to chat, with each other and just kind of learn as much as you can while you're together here. So thank you. It looks like we don't have any other agenda items on our list tonight. Anything that you'd like to add?
No, just I'm sorry about the timer at the beginning of the meeting.
It's okay. It's a great catch by Mary. It's a team effort up here, and it really did feel like it was within the 3 minutes, just for the record. So just to know that we run a just system up here, and we're fair and just and equal. All right.
And we want to hear from the public.
We do, yeah. We would never cut that off, and so if anything, she was respectful of the time. All right, so seeing no other agenda items on here, do we have a motion, commissioners?
I move that we adjourn.
All right, adjourned.
Goodbye.